welcome to another episode of the Heather Simcoe podcast, Sober Boss Babe, where we talk about all things sobriety, wellness, and nutrition to be the best versions of ourselves in our professional lives, whether we are an entrepreneur, a woman starting up a business, rebuilding it, or just making sure we reach the sky. Today, we are going to talk about what does being sober really mean. Having over 10 years of sobriety from alcohol, I have discovered there are many branches to the same root of addiction. So we're going to get into it today of what it means to be sober. And in my opinion, there are three types of sobriety: mental, emotional, and physical. I was initially under the illusion that being sober just meant not drinking, and I realized it is so much more than that. Once I put the drink down, this became very clear to me that my first drug of choice and my other podcast previous episodes was food when I was a teenager. And when I put the drink down, I reverted back to another addiction. So for me and many others in sobriety, it is literally, as I said before, same root, different branch. Our behavior once with one outlet is being cut off, tries to find another avenue to escape. Essentially, we're escapaholics. Feeling or experiencing anything, when life hits, we generally try and find an escape mechanism to dealing with our problems. So it can literally be anything. I joke about office supplies. My sobriety in whole is contingent on my daily vigilance. I put in insurance policies in place around me to make sure that I catch my blind spots, that I have a community around me of having the right people in place to make all the difference in making sure that I've gotten to over a decade of sobriety and making sure I keep the decade of sobriety that I have and continue moving forward in a very positive way. So when we talk about, as I said before, the three types of sobriety, when most people hear the word sobriety, they immediately think of one thing, either drugs or alcohol. And yes, putting down alcohol and or drugs is part of the process. But real sobriety gets so much deeper than that, than what's in your glass. Sobriety is really the moment you stop trying to escape your life and begin choosing to live life fully. For many women, alcohol became a way to soften the edges of our life, to take the pressure off, to quiet the stress, celebrate our wins, or just numb difficult emotions or even happy emotions. It was to celebrate or to escape. And it can become a quick exit from reality. But the truth is, growth doesn't happen when we escape our problems. Growth happens when we develop the courage to face them directly. So sobriety is not about restriction. It is about clarity and capacity. It is just the full decision to stop avoiding discomfort, getting comfortable being uncomfortable, and instead build the skills, the strength, and self-trust to move through life with awareness and attention. True sobriety includes three important dimensions. The first one being mental sobriety, being about clear, honest thinking, not perfection. It's the ability to see your life choices and patterns without distortion. True honesty, our how. Honesty, openness, and willingness. Alcohol isn't the only thing that clouds the mind. Overworking, numbing, doom scrolling, avoidance, and self-criticism can create just as much of a mental fog. Even anger. We can get caught up on extreme emotions and get addicted feeling those emotions. Anger is actually a form of addiction. When the mind is sober, you stop over-operating on autopilot. You become aware of why you're making decisions, not just reacting out of habit. Mental sobriety creates a pause. Wait, why am I talking? What am I thinking? What am I really experiencing? Instead of immediate reactions, you gain the space to choose response that align with who you're becoming. You can think strategically, communicate more effectively, and begin to trust yourself. A sober mind allows you to hear your true intuition again, that inside voice, that gut feeling, and really align your responses rather than reacting emotionally. Without noise and numbing, your inner guidance becomes clearer and more reliable. This is not about controlling your thoughts. It's about observing them with compassion and choosing which ones you continue to believe. And I was told very early on in my recovery, we get a lot of bumper sticker sayings, is that feelings are like children. You cannot let them drive the car, and you cannot put them in the trunk. So they need to find a safe place in the vehicle, usually in the back seat, buckled up, but you can't let them drive because they don't know what they're doing, and you can't put them in trunk because they're going to also scream and need to get out. They need air. So it's a very obviously clear visual of what our feelings are like, and we cannot either, in escaping them can be dangerous and letting it drive us, or hiding it and ignoring it also causes a problem as well. So moving on, we have emotional sobriety. And this is one of the harder parts once you get sober and you put down any of the substance, whether it's escaping through food, through drugs, through alcohol, whatever your vice is. It is the ability to feel without fleeing. It's learning to experience emotions without needing to numb, suppress, or escape them. Many women were never taught how to feel safely. We learned how to push through, stay productive, or reach for something to take the edge off instead. For me, it was, I'm just going to focus on the next thing rather than feel the feeling, even good feelings or bad feelings. I'd run from my past. I'd run from the things that I didn't want to feel and just move through everything and push through without actually ever processing anything. The problem with that, it builds up, and those emotions are like a water behind a dam that begins to break. So emotional sobriety doesn't mean being calm all the time. It means allowing stress, disappointment, excitement, anger, and uncertainty to exist without judgment. Most feelings only happen for 90 seconds. Imagine that, 90 seconds. You can literally feel a feeling, count to 90 seconds, and let it go. We're the ones who decide to either brush it off and throw it in the trunk, or let it drive and hold on to it for an extended period of time, rather than learn how to process it, realize it, and let it go. So when emotions aren't numbed, they become information, not threats. You can really look at a situation. Am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? What am I really feeling in the situation? What caused me, or what is a similar situation that I'm relating this to from my past, that maybe me taking it out on this situation that's related to something from my childhood. And that integration of going back to that original point, realizing that it's just a trigger of that root experience, not necessarily the experience that you're dealing with right now. So they tell you where your boundaries are needed, where healing is required, and where growth is actually happening. And alcohol and substance abuse often becomes a shortcut to regulate our emotions and just flatline them. So emotional sobriety is learning more new regulation skills, pushing, pausing, breathing, naming the feeling, and choosing how to respond. Acknowledge those 90 seconds. Let the feeling pass, whether it's sadness, anger, loneliness, happiness, whatever the feeling is. Once we put our substance down and we understand what it is that we're feeling, we no longer need to escape from it. We can allow our body to respond properly. This creates a wonderful space between our feeling and our actions. We're no longer reacting, we can respond. So instead of reacting impulsively, you respond with intention and self-leadership. Emotional sobriety builds resilience. You can begin to trust yourself to handle those hard moments without escaping them. We're not trying to escape emotions. You want to be able to experience grief, sadness, loneliness, happiness, any kind of exciting emotion that you're walking through, and be able to process it accordingly. So you begin to trust yourself on how to handle those hard moments without escaping them, and learn through going through happy emotions also without escaping them. Honestly, in my sobriety, happy emotions were harder to experience than negative emotions, because I was more comfortable in negative survival mode than I was in happiness. And so again, we talk about progress, not perfection. It is not about doing this perfectly in any way, shape, or form, but really understanding these different points of sobriety: mental, emotional, and physical. So we have our mental clarity. We want to make sure in our minds that we are not allowing any kind of substance to mess with our bodies, our cognitive ability, anything that's going to make you think or feel differently that is blocking our process of our mind. And then the emotional sobriety to allow our emotions to process properly and respond to them, and building these tools. And again, none of this is going to happen overnight. We learn how to feel them. And sometimes, even in my emotional sobriety, when I got sober, there were days where I'd come home exhausted. I call them emotional hangovers, where I would just need to sleep and recover. My body having to feel those feelings for the first time properly without escape would and could be physically exhausting. And so I would just nap it off. And eventually, once I built the resilience, I knew how to shorten that time frame. And now I'm at the point where I don't need a nap after I go to a social event, or I know what I need to do ahead of time to prepare for it, as opposed to what I can say no to, what I can say yes to. So it helps me build better boundaries to protect my emotional state. And when I'm going through something, to know where to put those boundaries in place as well. So now we move on to our physical sobriety. And there are a lot of escapes in physical sobriety as well, as we talked about. And it's about supporting your body so it can support your life. And these are the trifecta: mental, emotional, and physical sobriety. When you put all of those three together, that is when it really, truly begins to stick. Your weight loss remains sustainable. Your sobriety remains sustainable. Your relationships, everything in your life starts to have a nice three-legged stability in your life of having all of these three things together, where you're not escaping mentally, emotionally, or physically. And so the physical foundation allows mental clarity and emotional regulation to exist. So your mind is clear, your body is no longer in fight or flight, and when substances no longer alter your physical state, they also will impact your physical energy, your sleep, your hormones, your nervous system. So over time, it creates instability that shows up as fatigue, irritability, brain fog, and burnout. So physical sobriety is not just about removing alcohol. We can move through life so fast. Overworking out, overworking, not getting enough sleep. Sleep is actually sometimes more damaging than any kind of alcohol or substance abuse. It messes with your cognitive ability, messes with your hormones, your hunger hormones, your regulation. It is the first and foremost thing that you need to have in place to have a healthy, sustainable body is a good sleep routine. And again, physical sobriety. So it's about what you do and add back in: rest, nourishment, hydration, movement, and consistent routines. When I first got sober, the thought of going to the gym, I used to be in the fitness industry, and so it was really a key cornerstone in my overall wellness. And that actually became an addiction for a while. So even in my actual substance sobriety, I had to be very careful not to reroute my addiction to working out for the dopamine hits and the serotonin release. And now I'm at the point where, regardless of what my day looks like, I go to the gym and I do what I'm able to do every single day. That is my alone time, my mental time. It starts my day off on the right foot. I've gotten enough rest, and now I've moved my body. So then if nothing else has gone right, I have treated my body properly first and foremost in the beginning of the day. And your body is not separate from your leadership. You rely on your body to carry you through everything that you're doing. So if your body gives up, nothing else is going to be able to work for you. And how you care for your body directly affects your decision-making, your patience, your focus, your resilience. What you put in your body, and when your body is regulated, the mind calms, your emotions become easier to manage. And this is why physical sobriety strengthens the other two forms of sobriety. Like I said, the three legs of a table, you want them to all be stable to make sure that you have a nice balanced platform to work off of. As a new sober boss babe, being able to reach your next levels by having this wonderful balance. And when you work with me one-on-one, we go through and in a very concierge, very finely tuned manner, look